Collins was soon making plans for murder. The target, Ivan Toombs, a part-time soldier in the Ulster Defence Regiment. He'd already been shot and wounded by the IRA. Toombs was a major in the UDR, but he was also a family man with 5 young children. The Toombs family tried to lead a normal life. But the children were aware of a threat from an early age.
We used to keep a gunman behind the door, and we weren't allowed to touch it. And we knew that it was this fearsome weapon that, if used, would kill a person, and that you weren't to go near it. It was dangerous.
The first thing in the morning, you would see fog going out and looking in underneath the car and such like. You weren't aware, because we were all very young, of the dangers, but we knew there was something there.
Reminders of the IRA campaign were all too frequent. This car bomb exploded near the family home.
Well, I can remember particularly the mornings whenever my husband was going to work. He sometimes took the children with him, and we would always check the car, and I would have stood at the window listening till I could hear in the car no longer, and just thank God that this morning there was nothing. He was safe.
As well as being a part-time soldier, Ivan Toombs had a full-time job in the Customs and Excise. He lived and worked in Warrenpoint. Ivan Toombs was cautious. He varied his route to work and arrived at different times. Once there, he should have been safe. But Eamonn Collins had transferred to Warrenpoint. He was closing in.
The IRA goes into an area that's heavily policed. The IRA moves into an area that is heavily fortified. If you're going to go in and take on the enemy, and you're going to get out safely, well, then you've got to get in the period or the moment of least security presence. And you've got to get in and kill that person at the moment they are most vulnerable. And you've got to find, to do that, a routine. IRA can't be hanging around for moments watching out in targets. That's up to people like me. I was in that position. Nobody knew what I was. I was in the unique position to observe it up close. And that's what I wanted to do.
I enjoyed actually going down to customs with him. The people down there treated me really well, and they would have got pens and pieces of paper out and everything, and would have sat and drew pictures or played on the typewriter, or, you know, just basically played about and enjoyed myself when I was down there while he did his work.
I looked into the eyes of his children. They were beautiful children, big brown eyes, his little daughters, and they seemed to be edgy and nervous. And I said, I'm close to having him killed. So close. And I'm going to deprive these children of their father. And I thought that at that moment, and I felt it. But I said, but we're going to do it.
Working on the inside, Collins was close to finalizing his plans. While pretending to photograph his workmates, he took a series of intelligence pictures for the gunmen. He also recruited an accomplice, a young customs officer named Brendan McCackey, who was to confirm over the telephone that Ivan Toombs had arrived. All of this intelligence was passed on to the gunman, Kieran McBride.
I had suggested to Kieran that the way into that office was to go to the door, because there was security, ring a bell, have in his paper and in his hands export-import shipping documents, which I provided him with. I took out of the office and provided him with, and says, you go with these sheaf of documents, and once they see them, that's almost immediate entrance, because that's the normal thing that happens in that place. People come along with this. Happens every moment of the day. And it happened like that, like clockwork.
Ivan Toombs' children were at school when they heard the news.
Then he come up and he said, "Your father's been shot." Now, at this stage, you know, to me, when he said he'd been shot, he'd already been previously shot. I didn't know whether he had been killed or what state he was in, so I was told to make my way to the principal's office.
And I remember seeing my grandfather and my brother, Norman, with their heads bowed. And I sensed there was something wrong, that there was something happened in the family. At the time, I actually thought it was my mother because she had been in hospital having an operation, so I thought, oh my goodness, something's happened to Mum.
The sister came in and the minister and they pulled the screens round me and they told me that Ivan had been shot again. And I said, how is he? And they said, we really don't know. The news has just come through that he's been shot. I don't think anyone ever really told me he was dead.